Hey, what's happening? This is Nick keeping you company on Real Talk. We're trying to keep it 100% real, trying to keep it a little light, but at the same time, there's a lot of these issues happening across the UK. And one of the things that you guys must have heard, yeah, more than 30 million people in the UK have had their first dose of a COVID vaccine. So, yeah, big congratulations to you guys. If you're one of those people, thank you for being a part of this. And yeah, it's been announced, as the government says, it is confident everyone will receive their second jab within 12 weeks. So, asked about the concerns over supplies, the culture secretary, Oliver Dowden, said, "We always knew there's always going to be ups and downs, but the timetable was on track." That's something that me as well, I'm glad that this is actually happening right now. So yeah, there's been a lot of these datas that show that 3.5 million adults have now received their second dose. That's great news right there. This is the first step. The people are doing what they need to do to fight this virus together, this pandemic together. All of us, we're all in this together because hey, that is what's happening. And yeah, the first Moderna jabs also are due to arrive in the UK by late April. So yeah, it is the third vaccine of 7 that the UK has put in order for, and the UK is lined up to receive 17 million doses. So like the Pfizer BioNTech and the Oxford AstraZeneca jabs, which are already in use, the Moderna jabs is given in 2 doses several weeks apart. That's right. So yeah, the latest government figures show 423,852 UK adults received a first dose of either the Pfizer or the AstraZeneca vaccine on Saturday, taking the overall number to 30 million. Yeah, that's right. It's 30 million, with 233,964 people having had their second dose, bringing that to a total of 3 million people. That's crazy. So another 19 deaths of people within the 28 days of the positive COVID tests were recorded on Sunday. So compared to 33 on the same day last week, along with a further 3,862 cases. That's great. It's not great that people are dying, but at the same time, the numbers are not lying. It shows, from 19 that were within a 28, days to last week, the same day last week, 33 people. It's just crazy. The numbers are actually reducing. So yeah, the vaccine supply issues have continued to make the rollout a little bit bumpy, though. There's still a little bit of issues. But earlier this month, the NHS, they warned of a significant reduction in the jabs available in England in April. So yeah, there's been a delay to the Oxford AstraZeneca vaccine shipments from India. So yeah, there's also tensions, though. That's another issue that is boiling up. Yeah, there is big tension, a big tension, big, not, I would not like to say bad blood, but more like there is there's aggravation of relationships between the EU and the UK, and it's mostly right now. It started ever since Brexit, but now it's mostly also got to do with the rollout of the vaccine. So meanwhile, there's a lot of that stuff going on, especially between the UK and the EU. But Northern Ireland's First Minister Arlene Foster has said she hopes the UK will give vaccine doses to the Republic of Ireland in a bid to help stop the spread of infection in Northern Ireland. And she said, the idea was very practical, and she would speak to Boris Johnson about it again. So yeah, that is something that they are all looking forward to in the UK right now, and especially Northern Ireland. I hope everything gets good with those guys as well, with what is going on. So yeah, there has been a lot of this talks, and Andrew Marr said in an interview, we're on track with both the rollout of the vaccine and the roadmap. So you have seen the ups and the downs, and we were surging ahead a couple of weeks ago. There's been a bit of a slowdown now, but hey, that doesn't undermine our confidence that we will be able to deliver for that crucial group, the over 50s, by the middle of April, and then for the rest of the adult population by the end of July. So yeah, they're not slowing down at all. They're keeping it on track. They're making sure, everyone's getting their vaccine doses just as promised. The plan is to get everyone out and about by the time April 12th hits. So yeah, that's just another 2 weeks more, not even 2 weeks, guys. So make sure, you make sure you take that precautionary methods and avoid, keep that social distancing and avoid any physical contact if you can. So yeah, that is going on. And, asked, whether there'll be enough supply for everyone to get their second dose, Mr. Dowden said, this is absolutely essential. And, he's been saying, in all their planning throughout this, they had in mind, that the second top up. And so they're confident and they will be able to deliver it. That is what he's saying. He's saying he's very confident in it. And he also said, though, the government was confident that the vaccine centers could meet this 12-week deadline on second doses without resorting to mixing of vaccine. I mean, that is great. Giving the Oxford jab to someone who had a Pfizer first time around or vice versa, that's not something they want to be resorting to. And that is great. That's great news to be hearing, what is happening right now. I'm super happy, that they have actually, started taking the initiative on this. So yeah, Professor Adam Finn from the Joint Committee on Vaccination and Immunization said the Moderna vaccine was an extra string to our bow, but the shipments would be more limited than that of the two other vaccines currently in use. He also added, though, a further line of supply to enable the vaccine program to move forward into the under 50s, but with Moderna primarily directing their supplies towards the US, it is not a big game changer. So yeah, are the vaccines on track with the second doses? Well, as of Friday, more than 3.2 million people have now had their second dose. Yeah, that's right. And to work out whether the NHS has so far been giving doses within the 12-week time frame, we can go back and look at 3.2 million people having had their first dose. And this was achieved by January 15th. Yeah, that's right. So all of those 3.2 million people who needed to have their second dose by April, that's still 12 days away. So that suggests the program is actually meeting its targets. So it's actually happening. That's what the plan was, to get it done by 9th of April, to get most of the people, vaccinated. Well, it's happening. It's just 12 days more. And this, we believe there's been high expectation that it is going to happen. So even accounting for these small changes in order of people being recalled for these second doses, it's still happening. So don't worry about that. But the rate at which, the first vaccines were given accelerated sharply from mid-January. So it'll become more challenging in the coming weeks to deliver the same number of second jabs. I mean, there is a little bit of hesitancy that it might happen that quick, but hey, it's still happening. And Mr. Dowden also said that it still needs to be abide, by the rules after Monday, which is when lockdown rules are next eased in England. So from Monday, 6 people or 2 households are allowed to gather together outside, and the stay-at-home guidelines and will be lifted, which coincides with the forecasts of warm and sunny weathers in some areas. I mean, that's good news right there. They're trying to get everything out in order. But at the same time, you got to look at the coin the other way. It still doesn't mean, everything is back to normal. The virus is not there. The virus is so there, but you make sure you maintain that safety precaution so you don't spread the disease. I mean, 100%, it doesn't mean that you don't get the vaccine. It doesn't mean that you don't get the virus. You don't contract the virus. It still means you can. There's a possibility, but it's very low as of yet. And if you get vaccinated, I mean, the chances of getting the virus are even lower. So yeah, that's something to be looking forward to. So yeah, in Wales, the stay local rule was lifted on Saturday and people were allowed to meet in groups of 6 outside. So yeah, that's happened in Wales. All of this, I mean, it's great. It's great to see, all of this started, from it began at March 8th. The schools reopened. A lot of these outdoor after school sports were allowed, 2 people allowed to sit together. All of that, care home residents allowed 1 regular visitor. All of that, that's what happened at around the 8th of March. And then by the time 29th of March is coming, 6 or 2 households are allowed to meet finally. And outdoor sports facilities are open again. So yeah, organized sports are all allowed. Travel outside local areas are also allowed. That's something that's happening. And by the time, it hits the 12th of April, that is step 2 of the phase 2 of this whole thing. Non-essential retail and personal care can be open again, and hospitality outdoors open as well. Indoor leisures, especially including gyms, swimming pools, are going to be open, and self-contained holiday accommodation are also going to be open. And by the time May 17 hits, the other plan is, outdoor, most social contact rules would have been lifted, and 6 people or 2 households can meet indoors as well indoor hospitality and hotels can stay open. And by the time it hits the 21st of June, all legal limits on social contacts hopefully will be removed and hope to reopen final closed sectors of the economy. I mean, that is very ambitious plan, but the way things are looking right now, the way things are going, the way we're heading, I think it is a possibility. If we get everyone vaccinated, if everyone makes sure, you follow that guidelines that has been given to you, I mean, I think by the time it hits June 21, everything gets most probably back to normal. I mean, that's great stuff right there. So, but a lot of experts, though, have been expressing their hesitancy at the plan and the relaxation of these rules. So, Professor Mark Woolman, who sits in the group that feeds into the government's scientific advisory group for emergencies, said with the vaccine rollout performing at its current rate at the UK, it can get quite close to a full release, but he was a little bit nervous about the full relaxation plan for the 21st of June at the earliest. So yeah, Mr. Dowden defended though the plan, and he's been saying, they were being cautious, and the 5-week gap between each stage means the government has 4 weeks to see the effect of the spread from the easing, and then a week to prepare the rules. I mean, it's all being supervised properly. It's being, under strict supervision. And I think, that there's, especially with the spread out, the 4 week spread, the government can always decide, okay, is it a good idea to move on with the next phase? Is it a good idea to move on, or we stop the next phase and we continue going on this pace for as long as we need to? I mean, that is a good step forward. Let's see how it goes, and yeah, make sure if you guys, want to know more, make sure you guys keep it locked, because we'll be talking about this as we go on in the show. And with that, though, we got to take a real quick break. And up next, we got an amazing track by The Weeknd, and it's called In Your Eyes. So check it out.